a good early afternoon. I mean late afternoon, early evening. I got Rel here with me.
Mm-hmm.
Rel, besides you coming on the show
Mm-hmm.
with the girls when they're on the show,
Word.
I need you to explain to the people watching and what is it that you do for a living?
Um, I do a few things. I call myself an entrepreneur. I do e-commerce. I have multiple websites. I do IT. I've been doing that for 12, 13 years. Um, I've been doing trading since probably 2012, which is longer than a lot of individuals. Um, and I trade commodities, I trade ex- currencies, I trade options, I trade stocks. Any asset that's out there, I deal with it on a daily. I follow all news. Um, I've read plenty of books. I stay hip to the news. I know what I'm talking about, like as far as the lingo. Um, and I watch these situations very closely, because it's my money. And I think, if you got something in the pot, you got to know.
So explain to us with
Hmm.
this coronavirus pandemic, how is it affecting the money?
So, what happens is with like the economy how it is. Once we had that downturn from the financial distress from the housing situation, the last bubble. What the Fed essentially did was buy bonds, and pretty much it allowed for companies to buy those bonds, and it gave them a sort of a loan per se, and it was a low interest loan. So with a low interest loan, you don't have to pay that much back on the interest. So it allowed some of these hedge funds, which are essentially investment companies, to go ahead and pretty much take a risk on stocks, assets, or sometimes buying companies, and it allowed them to leverage up, or have money to buy something. Like, instead of like, let's say something like this, $100,000 loan might cost them $6,000. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot you can do with that if you put that on paper and think about it, because that's incredible. The rates that we get from a bank are typically way higher than that. So this allows a lot of risk into the system, but it also allows a lot of investment if you're that hedge fund, because you're able to start a business maybe in Edison. You're able to start a Top Golf. You're able to invest in these businesses that have actual special interests, like a Chuck E. Cheese, because you're paying. It doesn't cost you that much, but you can in turn hire professionals to take over whatever special interest and build out a business. But the fact of the matter is that, at the end of the day, the Fed is pulling this money out of thin air, and in order to get the money back, pretty much,
So this is the yesterday when the Fed gave the
mhm.
government the 1 point trillion dollars,
Right.
like one
So
point two trillion.
right, but even like the 1.2 trillion, right? That's not money that's going directly into the markets. This is money, they call it the repo, right? So in the middle of the night when we all sleep, the repo market pretty much assures these hedge funds and these banks that they have enough money to give to a bank or a hedge fund to trade during the day. Because if they don't have this money, if something goes left, you know, they get what they call this margin call. So if they're wrong by a certain amount of percentage, they have to hand up pretty much that interest amount, and if they don't, they have to close down the loan, and that whole trade or whatever they were invested in, let's say that Chuck E. Cheese, that it's coming down. That's it. We need that money. Whatever cash you got for that loan that you can divvy up, just give it to us right now. No cut. And you
Mm.
can understand how that's a stressful situation. Let's say if you got employees, or in the terms of stock, if you got stock out there and you're taking a loss, but it could really turn around Friday, but it's Monday, and Tuesday you've taken a major loss. You really just need time on your side, but you don't have that time. So that's when things begin to come down. And as more and more hedge funds get caught in that situation, it becomes a snowball, it's a cascade. So right now with the coronavirus, the big thing is we know stores are closing, right? We know people will stay in the house, so they're not going out. They're not going to buy anything. We know schools are closing. We know what that's affecting. They're not going on trips. They're not going on cruises. This is affecting the economies of countries. So all of this stuff is colliding into the forward expectations or the earnings that's coming up quarterly, right? And so they're saying, well, damn, why would I buy this stock for $100 today if I know the quarterly report is coming up? It's not going to be worth 100 then. So I'm gonna sell this right now for 100, and I'll probably buy it back at 75 or something. But everybody's saying that at the same time, so you get everybody selling, and it becomes a snowball effect with everything in the market. It causes panic, it causes fear. And mind you, if one of y'all work in, any type of job, your 401k comprises of some of these companies. And as it's snowball affecting, that's your 401k. This is your pension. This is your retirement. This is your future. You might be on the cusp of getting out of there, but pension isn't promised. So if it's not fulfilled, you're not getting your pension. So as we get the cascade effect, you can understand the damage that it starts to cause.
So for the layman that just be like, I just want the Walmart.
Mhm.
Everything's off the shelf. These stores is making a killing.
Right.
And this is happening all across the country. So the layman is say, okay, these stores is making a killing, everybody making money.
Mhm.
But in all actuality, you're saying that the fear is hurting the market. Because today I
Mhm.
seen it, the stocks made a big surge. Other
Right.
than it was down all week, but today it made a surge. So are you saying that the fear hurts the market more than the actual physical spending?
Yes. Yes. And it's very emotional because what happens is they call it, it's price discovery. We're trying to find out. They don't know the exact numbers that how much the quarterly earnings will be. Nobody knows these things until you get there. So they're trying to guesstimate. So, the fear of what's going on is causing more damage to, you estimating that guess. It's not like we know, okay, well, 500 customers come in here a day and XYZ happens. No, we've got this coronavirus. And listen, we don't know if this is going to go on 2 weeks or 2 months or 6 months. So we can't even estimate if what type of hurt, what type of pain we're going to feel financially. So not only do we try to estimate the pain, we have to pull back on stock. What are we putting on the shelves? And then since it's coming from China and our products come from China, we might not even get that stuff, or we might not even want it no more just because of what we just had to go through. So if you sit there and just think about, the wave effect that's constantly, come from this, it nobody knows, and the market is trying to figure it out. And this is the effect that you see of the stock market falling like this.
So like when people say how the Chinese food stores is doing bad, even the beer Corona that has nothing to do with the virus has lost money in the
Right,
last month just because the name goes with the name coronavirus.
right. It's a very sensitive situation, and it's going to affect a lot of. It'll affect a lot of small businesses before bigger businesses, but everybody's getting hit. And then and what makes it crazy, it's killing a lot of boomers. So if you older than 60, it's just icing you out. Like that's it. You gone. And there's an effect on that right now. So let's think about it. It's fine. It's a lot. It's a lot of cause and effect and consequences to just like a pandemic. Like we have these schools closing. It's people that's going to lose their jobs. They're not going to pay rent. So you could look at defaults on that. Auto loans, that's another thing. So um, it's just a vibration of effects, and I think you're gonna constantly see that. But I mean, as far as the average person, it's a good time to actually get in the stock market because you know it was very high before. So for the average person, even for me that deal with it, I jump in back and forth inside every day. But if I wanted to stop and hold, I would need it to be way lower than this, And the average person needs to stop and hold. Excuse me. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, so let me ask you, like, I got the question on the ticker. Should the
Right.
state workers be worried about their pensions during this pandemic?
I think this first of all, the way pensions are set up is um it obligates the state and it obligates the market to do very risky things. Now, the numbers I've heard is that in order for a pension fund to be funded, they need at least 7%, profit mandated every year. The average bond is like a 3% return, right? I think if you if you could beat the market, because the market has an index of all the stocks, so you could buy like the S&P 500 index, and it should perform, I think, anywhere between 3 to 6% a year, right? So essentially, you have to beat the market, and beating the market takes a lot. This is even hard for Warren Buffett, who's a great. So we're talking about beating the market year after year after year after year. And the reason why they have to beat the market is because there's fees that come out of the pension funds. The richest people in this country are managers of pension funds because we're talking about the whole police, union of either New Jersey or what have you. So we're talking about a lot of money. And we're talking about taking a certain percentage of that and giving it to a hedge fund and just saying, okay, this is your money just for doing it. Why are we paying you unless you perform? Because we could just put this in the index. You know what I'm saying? So these managers, they're taking this money, and since they have to perform, they're doing a lot of risky things, and it's really making them take a lot of risks that they don't have to take. It's a lot of underhanded black market things, that they'll. It's a lot of grimy, criminal-minded stuff that these pension funds are doing with police money, fireman money that they would never know. And the thing is, these state workers, they have to get involved and they have to actually ask whoever's managing it, whatever office, like, yo, what's going on? Is this pension fund safe? Is it going to make it? No. Make me understand. Like, this market is going down. So how is this going to happen? Because they don't know. They're lying and saying, okay, it's cool, but it's really not cool.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted you to come on and bring some clarity to it because I know a lot of times we tend to think that things don't affect us per se, and we just sit back and just go with the flow, or just be like, long as I'm not affected, I'm good. I done got my toilet paper, I got my Lysol.
Right.
I live in the woods, but you might have, like you said, a person might have been a state worker for 18, 19 years, thinking about retiring next couple of years, and be like, hold up,
Yeah, I don't.
like I can't even retire. This is hurting me right now. So
Right.
even with him giving the $50 billion for the national emergency, how does
Mhm.
that help?
Um, what happens is it keeps these funds like basically they need a buffer amount. There's a loan amount, right? And that keeps them from liquefying, or it keeps them from getting, like I said, margin call before. When they get margin called, they have to sell other things that they have that have nothing to do, with their main product. So let's say if they bought gold, you can actually buy gold, for instance, which is it's a hedge, or it's a just in case purchase, just in case like stocks go down. So let's say in this environment where stocks going down, they'll usually go to gold, right? But in this case, if they're betting that the stocks are going down and the stocks don't go down, and then their margin call because they're wrong on the trade, then they have to sell another asset in order to get that money back to make up what they lost. So what happens, the Fed, the injection is pretty much giving them extra funds, is giving them extra loan money so that they don't run into that wall of making a mistake like, oh, my fault. And now they have to sell, other assets to make up for the losses that they've made. So basically, in a layman's term, they're playing games with pension fund money and they're taking losses currently because of the coronavirus. It happened so quick. So they're taking in losses that they didn't expect to lose. You know what I'm saying? And it's causing them to sell things that actually need to keep going for years and years in profit.
Okay.
So they're basically, and they have to do this because 7%, they have to fulfill these pension profits. And if they didn't have to fulfill that, then they might not take that risk,
Wow.
But we have to give police and we have to give firemen something in order for them to. Why would you be a cop or why would you be a fireman without having a safety net? But what do we do here? You know what I mean?
So it's a safety net, but it's not really safe right now.
It's right. It's a safety net, but it's not ever safe.
And that even goes back further. The time when I know in Jersey, when Governor Whitman basically borrowed money out of the pension fund and never paid it back.
Right. And another thing, like I was saying, I was trying to tell people is that it's going to come a time that pensions are going to be so damaged that the Fed, the Federal Reserve, will have to buy municipal bonds from states. So this is meaning the federal government, because the federal government don't have nothing to do with your state pension. The state pension belongs to the state. That's their own. People don't realize that a lot. It's the federal and then it's the state. They don't have nothing to do with each other. But if it comes a time where people in the streets, because listen, 500 police and firemen don't have their retirement obligations to their pension. Now they want to tear shit up. The Fed will have to step in and buy New Jersey municipal state bonds. They're gonna have to buy and municipal in order for them to stay afloat.
And in all actuality, we want government regulation out of our lives, and what's going to wind up happening is there'll be more in our lives.
Right. Yeah. And
wow.
And that's a big thing too. I tell black people all the time, I'm like, I don't understand how everybody's so liberal, and the conservative way is less government, and and that's the free way and less risky way. The more you keep entering these entities into your life, because if the Fed got to pay for it, guess who pocket is coming out of? All of us. So you either tax more or whatever the case. Your child might get taxed more. It's very deep,
Yeah. But real man, I appreciate you joining us, man. This quick 20 minutes, bro. Right. And hopefully you help somebody and educate us all on what's going on and how it affects us, bro.
Right. No problem, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right. Peace.